Welcome back to another episode of Watch Therapy. Today is a good day. Today I have for you, I'm going to review the Omega Speedmaster, gray side of the moon. And as you might know, there is a dark side of the moon. There are Swatch watches that have copied this, but I can tell you there is no replacement for this. So let's take a moment, open up this gorgeous box that came in, and connect with the watch. There we go. I'll tell you what, guys and gals, this watch, let me just set this beautiful box aside. I don't want to hurt it. This watch has taught me something quite a bit in the world of horology. I'm going to just be vulnerable with you guys. I'm going to be honest. Why wouldn't I? I have nothing to gain by pretending I'm something I'm not, right? This watch has taught me a lot about horology, the study of time, and these beautiful watches that all of us appreciate. This watch has such a list of features, and these are features that are not only they're actually listed on the back of the watch, but these are features that I have heard other reviewers just rip right through. Coaxial escapement, double barrel, vertical clutch, what else? Jewels, ceramic. And I just say, and I don't really know what that means clearly, or, exactly. Now you're going to have to read upside down a little here, but you could see at the top, right? It's got everything marked. You can see the movement right now. Can you see that? That's a silicone hairspring movement. It helps with magnetism, anti-magnetism. It lasts longer. It doesn't corrode over time. And you can see all the other thing tested in 5 positions. There it is. Right up there. Barrel 1. Right, there's another barrel. I didn't know exactly what they meant by barrels. Look at this beautiful movement. So the point being, there's barrel 2. We could start with the barrels, and my fingerprints have kind of gotten all over this, and then the case is ceramic. What's a ceramic case exactly? Do you guys know how that's put together? I didn't know. It's not something that was right off the bat intuitive to me. Right there. Can you see right there above me, right? That's zirconium, carbonate, and zirconium oxide. 2 extremely hard substances that, as I understand it, are mixed together and processed up to 20,000 degrees, and they create this ceramic material right here. The entire case, the bezel, and you can see that nice Zaratsu polish along the side. And the idea being is it's lighter, it will not oxidize over time, it will always look the same. And that it's very, very, very scratch proof. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, this watch originally went for $13,600. It is used now, and the cost is $9,900 at TikTok Time Shop, and I'm trying to think of ways to get that because I would love this watch. But I really love so many things that it has taught me, but I love the ceramic, all that. That's ceramic, the pushers on the chronometer, the chronograph. Because it's like, if I'm going to wear a watch that costs this much, I don't want to go around full of anxiety, worried I'm going to just touch it on something wrong, just barely, right? And scratch it. Now, I love Grand Seiko. I love their Zaratsu polish. And I have a Grand Seiko SBGA 401 spring drive. However, in this, this watch is twice as much as that watch. And if I have to worry about scratching it every time it even gets close to another surface, I don't feel like I can enjoy it, because this is like, your Grail watch or my Grail watch. So I'd be so afraid to hurt it. Well, in this watch, I would certainly be careful with it all the time. See those hands? Nice shine there? That is white gold. Loomed white gold. You can see the seconds hand here. And I just feel like I would enjoy it more, because it's like, yeah, I have an expensive watch and I need to be careful, but I'm not going to be paranoid, because it actually can take small hits. And I've heard people say that, these never need to be refinished. And look at that domed sapphire over the dial. Look how high that is raised. I don't even know where to begin or end. Yeah. So let's talk about some more of the things. See that? The crown, that is actually loomed. At night, that shows up. Okay? And the doming on this, my friend at TikTok said, why this thing should be like a reverse, so you should be able to just have the movement on the outside and strap it on me like this way so people can see it. That's one of my favorite things. When I have this on, I can look down the barrel and sometimes see under there, it'll catch the light right. You can see the crystal of the case back right there. Well, sometimes, not now, of course. I wish I could show you. But the light will just barely hit it, and it kind of like glows under there. It's really incredible. Really incredible. So let's talk about a few of the other things that I have learned in my week or so looking at this watch. Twin barrels, what does that mean? Normally, automatic watches have one barrel, meaning that's the power reserve. And somewhere around 28 hours, 30 hours, 32 hours they can go. But I have learned that when they get about 23 hours, there's a power sort of dip, amplitude dip, they call it. And so you can really start losing time. That accuracy can just go way, way off. With twin barrels, this has a 60-hour power reserve. 60. And over 4 days, when I first had it, I set it to an atomic clock, and it was 1 second slow. I had it resting on its side. I had it resting, this way, this way, this way, all the different ways you might want to wear it. Oh, look at that. They even did some Zaratsu in front of the lugs there. You see that? Look at those layers. Beautiful. So you won't get that dip in power. You get a 60-hour power reserve. The other thing is coaxial escapement, coaxial. I read up on this. George Daniels in 1976 came up with this new escapement. It's on almost all Omega watches, modern Omega watches. And at the time, it was the first new movement ever created. And I don't know, I think it's a couple hundred years. Now, of course, Grand Seiko has invented spring drive. And if you don't know what spring drive is, you should find out. It's phenomenal. That's where they have mixed an automatic along with a quartz movement. I won't go too far into that. I've done it on some other reviews. So I would say that counts. But this is the other one. And in 1976, he came up with this. And so essentially, it reduced friction. It's one of the main functions. And so you have longer service lives. Now the friction, what I mean, there's no sliding friction. Okay, sliding friction is what is on all other automatic watches, and that requires shorter or sooner services. You have to get it serviced more often. You have to have it filled with a certain type of lubricant oil to cut down on friction, which wears down the joules. This one has 54 joules. 54. And with this coaxial escapement, George Daniels essentially created a whole new movement. It has 3 pallets with a locking function. And I'm not an expert on coaxial escapement. I recommend you look it up. I could put a link in the description. But essentially it puts less wear on the parts because it has a second escapement piece with a second pallet fork, or a third pallet fork, I should say, in the movement. Okay, what else have I learned? Vertical clutch, that has to do, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. It says it back here. The vertical clutch has to do with a chronograph. And this is also a chronometer. So it has not just seconds, and I'll get it. Oh, how about I just start it? Right. It stops perfectly. It can get you those tenths of a second, where other chronographs will just go by seconds. Beautiful detent. I hope you can hear that. Right? And then we can reset. Boom. So the vertical clutch makes the movement. That's part of the reason why it's so thick. But that vertical clutch improves accuracy. It improves the function, the hammering. When you push this in, just one more of the many features of this watch. Like I said, 54 joules. I've talked about the ceramic. Everything is gray ceramic. It's gray side of the moon. I don't know, there's a dark side of the moon, the black one. I like the gray one. And this thing changes colors. I mean, depending on your environment, it will look one way, then it will look another, but it always looks incredible. So basically, a lot of it is they've really focused on materials that don't oxidize. You won't get the patina. Some people like the patina, but this watch will look the same for generations. Pass it down, whatever. Here's another good one. The dial is platinum. Platinum. Sandblasted or blasted platinum. Basically, they grind up platinum as fine as it can be and spray it on there, and this will never pick it up. You got to, oh, you can see a little sparkle. Down where it says chronometer. Right there. There it is. Beautiful. And it's supposed to look as they described it when they first went to the moon. They said it looked like gray dust. The moon looked like gray dust. So the gray side of the moon, and that platinum blasting there on the dial is supposed to help sort of recreate that. Let's see. Plastinum accuracy, I've talked about that. Talked about the ceramic dial. Love it. Let's see. Well, why don't I just put it on the wrist? Get an idea. My 18 centimeter circumference wrist, 7.125 inches. Oh, look at that. I just love looking at it. I love seeing it. I love it on the other wrist equally. It looks kind of like its own sort of self there, a different sort of way. I love looking right down the barrel of that. There's that over the top. So I just feel like, I mean, this watch is just on another level. Okay, all those features I've talked about are just not something you see on every watch. and I understand why this costs more than every other watch, than a lot of watches. Very comfortable. And you know, when I first looked at this watch, I kind of was like, really? It's almost $10,000 used. I just didn't quite get it. But then the more I spent time with this, I just appreciated it more and more and more. And what a feat of horology this watch really is, what they've put in it. And actually, I maybe it's the gray part, but I really like the looks of this almost more under like cloudy skies. I took it out the other day and just looked at it, you know, kind of under this. We had cloudy skies here, and it just kind of has a sort of low glow to it, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Um, let's see. I think that's really about it. I mean, I just feel like if I can have a luxury watch that I'm not worried about all the time, if I have a luxury watch that is this accurate, where I'm not losing 20 seconds a day, or this plus or minus 5 to 8 seconds or whatever, I'm losing 1 second over 4 days. I mean, that's just like, I don't know. I think that alone is worth the money, and I can see how my brother-in-law and some other people I know that have amazing watch collections. You know, once you wear something like this, if you can't afford to buy one of this caliber, no pun intended, um, you know, you're not going to just go buy something else that's less. You'd rather wait and save up so you can buy something of this quality, because it is that different. And I apologize for all the prints on there on that Zaratsu, but it's there. You can kind of see it there. Gorgeous. It's worth the wait. And once you have one of these on your wrist, you'll just try to find ways to afford it and try to come up with ways you could wear one, and maybe go to a one watch collection instead of having 10 watches that are kind of average and you're like mediocre about. Have one that just blows your mind every day. I love this. See that groove right there? What a neat feature. I mean, look at the layers, starting with the dome crystal. Next layer below that, next layer below that. It's incredible. I thank you for watching this extended review of the Omega Speedmaster Gray Side of the Moon. And I hope you have a really, really great rest of your day. If you have any questions or thoughts, even about, you know, you've seen it and you really like, oh, look at that. So many levels it works on. Do you like the black side of the moon, or the dark side of the moon, sorry, or this gray side? Do you wear a Swatch watch and think, okay, that's just as good? Why do I need that? I'd love to know your thoughts. And yeah, great watch. Great watch. Thanks so much. Take care.